Hegemony Cricket just got the headline from New York Times about the shooter walking away from a life of privilege and coming from a prominent Maryland family. I guess this is the angle mainstream media seems to be going with. Yeah, let's do that then. It's interesting to see how right-wing media and really, frankly, just like mainstream media is responding to this. Hegemony Cricket just wrote in that the New York Times sent out a push notification emphasizing the privilege of the life of this shooter and the fact that his family had some prominence in the state of Maryland. Again, the people that are obsessing about his personal ideology, I just find it perplexing. It's a version to me of like, I don't know, just the small ball of focusing on how much Bernie Sanders' code is. Like, what? The bigger conversation is what is most relevant, which is the reaction to this shooting. The fact that the gunning down of this healthcare CEO in Midtown Manhattan was not met with sympathy by the American public. In fact, in many instances, it was met with glee to, well, I don't agree with it, but I can understand it, to, well, maybe he had it coming. That's been broad-based what the reaction has been, and then everyone's all horny about the shooter.
Yeah, it's not, well, there's the horniness also, but it's less, horniness aside, it's less that people think they found a hero and more that they are being confronted with the death of a villain.
Yeah, and this is frankly just a moment of class consciousness, which was unexpected. And we, as we keep saying, murder is not justifiable.
And it's probably not going to lead. It's probably going to lead to a lot of surveillance and crackdowns on people.
And as in the way this country goes, you know what it's going to be like? A boon for private security for CEOs. I'm sure those stocks are going all the way up because they're going to start to hire some more bodyguards. But at the end of the day, it's about broadly, I think, people see their reaction to this moment, and hopefully Democrats for 2028 taking notes, taking on privatized healthcare with a Medicare for all system or a public option system is the future of the Democratic Party. And if you're a candidate and you're not focusing on that and you're thinking about running, then you're going to be in trouble. Like there was a little bit of fun for me seeing that he got arrested in Pennsylvania and Josh Shapiro had to make a statement and go on the record being against this shooter. I'm hopeful that people will bookmark that again for the presidential race in 2028, but not to make it about that. Because as I was saying earlier, the narrative seems to be that, oh, he was a privileged Ivy League kid, including coming from Candace Owens herself. Here she is. This was some of her commentary about the shooter, and notice the repeated mention of Ivy League.
Okay, so the assassin, long story in the middle there about how they caught him. Obviously, I told you he got on a bike, and then it turns out that he got on a bus. At one point, they were fishing into a lake that people thought, are we looking for a dead body? Is the assassin dead? Are we looking for items that he may have dropped off on the way? This guy essentially disappears from Manhattan, where there's like a camera on every single block, and people are going, this is very suspicious. What we did not expect was for this individual to be an Ivy League graduate. Okay, again, we're saying allegedly. Obviously, we believe in due process. He has not been brought in officially. He hasn't gone through due process at all. But the would-be assassin, the alleged assassin, is a young man named Luigi Mangione. Okay. Luigi, let me tell you a little bit about this guy that you're looking up on the screen right now.
Real quick. Just a note, George Farmer, Candace Owens' husband, former chairman of Turning Point UK, former CEO of Parliament. Attended Oxford University. Earned a degree in theology. Interesting. Go ahead, Bradley.
Mangione, okay? Luigi, let me tell you a little bit about this guy that you're looking up on the screen right now. He is 26 years old. He bills himself as anti-capitalist. He's an Ivy League graduate. He's taken into custody. Here is the story of how. I don't know if McDonald's is having the best or the worst year ever, but after all of that, making it out of New York City, able to assassinate someone, and then this manhunt ensues. You want to know what broke him? He needed to get something from McDonald's. He was hungry, and he went to McDonald's. An employee which is 100 miles east in Pennsylvania. He was in a town called Altoona. An employee recognized him. He was like, I've been seeing this guy. I'm obviously following the story. People are obsessed. It's like a true crime narrative here. We've never seen anything like this. Someone just getting assassinated like this, and how cool he was. I should also remark, if this is the alleged killer, Luigi was incredibly calm and collected as he unjammed his gun and then took a couple of more shots and really just kind of strolls away. So we're thinking, is this tactical? Is this like somebody that's working for the deep state? I don't know. He seemed way too calm. Well, that's how they caught him. Just a McDonald's employee
so
was like, I recognize this person.
The part I wanted to get to. So she mentions Ivy League like 3 times. And then, I don't know, could this have been a part of the deep state? That is right-wing conspiracism distilled for you. Resentment against vague cultural elites to distract you from the class politics that the Republicans make worse. And then there's probably a conspiracy theory here. It can't just be everything I just said. It can't just be that people feel like this healthcare system is rapacious, that it has resulted in the deaths of tens of thousands of Americans every single year, and that everybody you know that doesn't come from affluence will say, even if they do, like this kid, I have had a nightmare situation with this healthcare provider. Yeah. I have had a nightmare situation with the hospital with surprise billing. I've had a nightmare situation with my pharmaceuticals, their price getting jacked up. I have had a nightmare situation trying to get a claim through with my insurance company and trying to call them over and over again to give me my basic needs, even though I'm paying you thousands of dollars a month. What am I paying you for? And we just allow this system to go on so guys like Brian Thompson, or whatever the fuck his name is, can get richer and richer and richer, and more stock buybacks and more endless growth. And like, we can put more people into this private system via the Affordable Care Act. Like, okay, yes, the patient protection part was important, but now we funneled more and more people, and it's a good thing that fewer people are uninsured, but more and more people into this system to, yes, elevate the stocks of these folks, and then now they have you. They've created a basic need market monopoly with just a few insurers who determine the price of care for everybody. And there's hospital conglomerates and all of that. It's milking people dry in their the little time that they have on Earth. And you think people aren't mad about that? You know what it must be? It must be a deep state plot, and the fact that he's an Ivy League graduate. That's actually probably the more plausible explanation. Right-wing populism is a joke. It's a joke. If you really think that people like Candace Owens or anybody like that is trying to say that there's, left and right, we can come together on this and whatever. Like, I'm hearing that from anyone from Sagar to TYT now. You are a mark, or you're being paid to say something differently, or whatever. Your politics don't necessarily match with what you're purporting and whatever. Yeah, I mean, not specific about that. But the point is just like, this is really the display of the hollowness of right-wing populism. Because even if Republican voters feel this way intrinsically, you're not going to get this from right-wing commentators and people who actually have power within the Republican Party. Sorry, go on.
That's the actual significance of him being from this class background, is that you are losing even people that should have been made. And everybody else knows what this is like. That you are losing Ivy League kids, it means that, and because it's true, that it's not just poor people and lower income people who get on the hook for giant healthcare bills and go bankrupt. I would be interested in placing health expenditures as in terms of like, what is the main way people move lower on the sort of income and wealth rank? I would guess getting cancer probably has ruined a lot of households that would have been in the higher income, and then all of a sudden dad's gone because we either couldn't pay for it or whatever, or we had to sink all of our credit cards into paying for this healthcare. Again, there is no world where these institutions make sense. You do not need them. There needs to be one health insurance pool with every single American in it, and anybody who needs healthcare in America in it. This segregating into, oh, I'm going to have this one, I'm going to have that one. It's a joke on you, and people know it. This idea, Obamacare. Oh, I love to go online and shop for healthcare.
Yeah.
How fucking stupid is that?
Okay, or it's through your employer. Or if you're lucky enough to have an employer that provides you with benefits, which is not necessarily the case, it's through your employer. So you are stuck in a situation. Say you have a boss that's harassing you. Say you're not making enough money. Say you want to take a risk or do something else or be an artist or try something with your life that's fulfilling in the short time that you have on this planet. No. If you have say, asthma, if you need dialysis, you're screwed. You've got to stick with that employer because there's a chance if you leave, even if that situation is killing you every day, that you're gonna lose your health care. You understand why are people nihilistic about politics right now?
Yeah.
Why did we just elect Donald Trump for a second time?
I'm a Vox writer. I'm a Substack writer, Matt Iglesias. I got a new poll that said actually healthcare is good. As you were, everyone.
Right.
Thanks, Vox writers. I appreciate that. I guess we're all good then.
Yeah, and this is exposing, when people are like, why did people think the economy's not working? Why did Bidenomics not trickle down? Like, because yes, there were some really good things with antitrust that the Biden administration did, but that's not sufficient for broad legislative action that creates public options or takes these life goods and essentials out of the private space. And that's why I just get so triggered about this right-wing populism stuff, is because they're libertarians that want to privatize everything. They make this situation worse. Yep. Stop reinforcing the narrative that they're for the people as they loot the federal government for what they can within the short period of time that they're going to be able to be in power, like Trump did the first time. There's nothing new this time. The pain is still there, but people feel like they don't know where to go because the Democratic Party did a horrible job messaging it and didn't have a transformational agenda. They ceded the anger about this country to the right, which is insane. There's no reason that Donald Trump should have won this election. He wasn't offering anything on healthcare, anything on the economy. He's admitting now that his tariffs could cause prices to go up. But by default, he wins because they represented the status quo and people go, this sucks for me, And if you're not speaking to that rage right now, you are setting us up for a complete backslide into fascism. So let's not pretend that there's any way that we can meet with the Republicans on this. It's not going to happen. And I don't even really fully agree with Bernie Sanders is going like, hey, we can work together, Elon Musk, because I think I don't know what that's for. I doubt that bears any fruit. We need to be in opposition to these folks and making it clear where they stand. Let's not do the work of obscuring what the Republican Party is really about, which is about privatizing our system even more. And it's the privatization that has led to this immiseration.
We need to throw over the Obama and Clinton folks because they're the ones who did this.
Exactly.
United Health, there's a reason that $750,000 went from United Health into the Democratic presidential campaign. It's because the Democrats are responsible for those still existing.
Hack all the things. When is Candace going to blame woke? Soon enough.
Can we just zero back on what that segment was? Like, it wasn't even really opinion. It was like her airheaded play-by-play.
It was. I know. And
like they don't know how to get traction on this story because what you should say is look straight into the camera and say, private health insurance should be killed by Uncle Sam.
Yes. They can't do that though. They can't. And that's why, this is an opportunity. This is an opportunity. and we shouldn't be normalizing that. We should be let's make them answer for it. I want this story to continue to stay in the news so they're in as uncomfortable of a situation as possible. And we're telling you right now what they're going to try to run with. We're going to try to say that he's an Ivy League coastal elite that's out of touch and that maybe a deep state plot. But just know that's a lie. No, it's a lie. Go ahead, Bradley.
And also the fact that, as you were saying, in terms of his social media footprint, it's like a guy like Tim Urban was literally tweeting about the horrors of the shooting, and then turns out, supposedly from the social media footprint, that guy was the shooter was a fan of Tim Urban's Urban's work.
That actually goes. I keep mentioning Vivek Chibber's class matrix because there's all this thing about what is it, culture, or is it material conditions? And Chibber makes a point that it's not really that people decide, ooh, capitalism is the best system. I'm going to go get a job so I can support myself. They're forced to because they're in a condition of work or starve.
Yeah.
And so you can have a 20-year-old go through all sorts of different ideological sort of influences, whether it's Peter Thiel or the Sapiens writer or whatever. And when they come into conflict with the actual privatized profiteer healthcare system we have, they become anti-capitalist. Like, that's what happens. And this isn't like, so like all this focus on what he tweeted 2 years ago, we know what happened. And it wasn't Joe Rogan. It was his back and how he paid for it.
Yep.
But I really do love how Candace Owens, just to fill air, was like, and this McDonald's patron was like, that's a cool looking guy.
Yeah, right.
I'm like, I'm sorry. I've read a number of reports. We have literally not received one shred of testimony from the so-called patron who identified the shooter.
Yeah.
She's just completely like autofilling dialogue to make it a more entertaining kind of scene at the McDonald's, being like, I think I know that guy.
But isn't it instructive that even though she's not with the Daily Wire anymore, she's more independent than the Daily Wire. She's still saying the same stuff that we heard Ben Shapiro say yesterday.
Oh, she's always been massively controlled. Even the I'm going to have Finkelstein on stuff lasted about 2 weeks before she was saying, actually, the problem with Israel is the Marxists.
Oh, yeah. Right.
Yeah, because even when the stuff is sort of shrouded in the rhetoric of the culture war, it's always, the shroud is always to hide the potential look towards capitalism as a problem.
Yeah.
It's always like the ball being hidden is always the one that like maybe there's a problem with capitalism.
Well,
in America.
that's the thing, is like what is oh man, search for meaning. What is the meaning of life? What's excluded by our press is that we should be fighting and organizing against the people who exploit the life out of us for cash.
Right.
That is the real meaning of life. That's it. It's not like, let's share ideas in some weird vacuum and the best idea about things wins. It's about having a better life for you and the people you love and getting them liberated from the capitalists that put them, say, in North Dakota because the Burlington Northern Railroad needed to carry grain to market to justify its expenses. Like, this is the real existential thing, and it's not on the American media map because American media is owned by capitalists. Even some of the independent ones taking giant payouts to name their studios.
It's a marketplace of ideas sponsored by gold bullion.
But isn't that phrase right there kind of makes total sense of like, that's the marketplace that right-wing media wants. The big corporate sponsorship on top of it. It's a marketplace, but you've got to pay to enter.
I just love shopping for health insurance. I love to, it's like shopping for a new pair of running shoes. I love shopping for everything. Just let me shop more, Obama.
And wouldn't it be nice that if you wanted to lace up your running shoes, that you would have to call and stay on hold and wait for a little while before you were to leave to go out the door?
And ask permission for like extra long runs from the company. Like, hey, Saucony, can I do this 13-miler or do I need to wait?
You got to file some paperwork first and then wait 7 to 10 days for your claim to be approved. Whew. All right.
I was trying to be chill today.
How's your heart rate monitor? We monitor Matt's like as if it's some sort of
198. So I think I got to probably do some breathing exercise. No, I'm not. I'm about half that. Matt's heart rate is our metronome. Bust out my Telecaster.
Hey folks, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and check out our daily show. We do it every day at 12 p.m. Eastern for about 2.5 hours. We even take phone calls. You should check that out.